When someone has a passion for what they do, it comes through in the product they provide their customers. Just ask LaRocco's Pizza's new owner, Jason Johnson, about their crust. They make it every day and let it rise for a minimum of 24 hours before they use it for their pizza. And his staff doesn't want to do anything they won't be the best at, and you can taste it in their pizza. LaRocco's Pizza, just a half block north of the I-470 and Gage Boulevard exit. Come taste the difference.
At SportsMomsUnited.com, we celebrate every athlete and support every sports mom. SportsMomsUnited.com is on a mission to put logic back in youth sports. When you ask young athletes why they play sports, their number one answer is fun. For them, that means being on a team, making new friends, having a good time, all of which are awesome memories. We add to the memories by featuring an athlete of the day and sharing their story. Nominate an athlete today at www.sportsmomsunited.com.
It's time for Real Estate 101 with the Carrie Brown team from Preferred Advisors.
Good Saturday morning to you. This is Carrie Brown, Associate Broker with eXp Realty and the Preferred Advisors team, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. So, I kind of realized this morning that there are 5 Saturdays in August, which means that I worked my husband into an additional show, which he's less than thrilled about.
Yes. Morning. Next time we will be checking the calendar of the month before we agree to that month.
I'll be like, 4 Saturdays, I'll take it.
Is there one with 3 Saturdays?
No, there's not. Until ball season starts, and then, well, we'll see how that works out. Sometimes I get bumped, but we'll see how that goes.
Sundays in ball season, honey.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind. That was back in the day when I had a Sunday show. Yeah, you're just going to have to stick with 4 and get over it. So, needless to say, we are totally winging this show. We have no idea what we're talking about, but we'll figure it out, right?
Yeah. Trees. Please.
So he came home. He's been gone. He's been in Iowa for a little while, and now he's back, and who knows which state he's headed to next. So tell me, experience-wise, with all the ruckus that's going on in the world today, and that being used very loosely, what would you say the atmosphere was like in Iowa? Were they helping each other? Or?
They were all very thankful for all the people that were there. I mean, again, I ran into some horror stories where people got gouged pretty bad. The Attorney General ran one guy out of town, I think, for price gouging, pretty bad. But for the most part, they were very thankful that everybody was there. I had phone calls from different businesses, let me know if you need anything. So they were all very thankful that we were there helping. And the sad thing is for them people in Iowa and I told some of them that I talked to, I said, you guys don't realize as soon as this hurricane hits, the people that are here working, most of them are just going to fly the coop and go hit that fresh storm because that's what they do. There'll be a few of them sticking around, so things are going to slow down pretty bad, but they got all their power back on, thankfully. And they are under contract with a contractor to get the street stuff cleaned up, so he's big enough to handle it. So I think they'll be all right on that end of it, but some of the residential stuff's going to slow way down, I think.
Which, I mean, understandably so. Whenever like you were telling me, they have trees down and they have power back up. But, in the southern states, they have significant flooding, too. And this last storm hit clear up into Arkansas.
Yeah, just yesterday. There was still tropical. I think it was a depression when it went through Jonesboro. Tropical depression, but there was tornadoes and flooding hit there. So it was in Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got multiple states that have been hit now. And they're talking about, 2 more off the coast of Africa?
There was 2 within the next 5 days have a 30% chance to develop into another storm.
Yeah. I was told at the beginning of the year that this is supposed to be a record year for hurricanes.
We are way ahead of pace.
Yeah, so.
We're ahead of the year Katrina hit. Katrina was, like I said, wasn't it the one that they went all the way out through the alphabet and had to get into the
numerical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So
and it's still August.
I mean, you think about it, we're in Tornado Alley, so we always run that risk of having some sort of significant storm, but it gets kind of interesting whenever that tropical storm moves its way up into the interstates.
Yeah, they usually do. So it's like when Katrina hit, you know where I was, right?
Yeah, you were in New Orleans.
No, when Katrina made landfall, I was in Maine.
Oh, that's right.
I shot my bear the day Katrina hit.
Yeah.
And we sat there the rest of the week. I think it hit like on a Monday or a Tuesday. I don't remember for sure, but I shot the bear that day, so I was done hunting. I got to fish the rest of the week. The guys that was with us, they had to go out in Katrina's rain, and it was torrential, and they sat there all week and got drenched. So I was kind of glad I shot my bear when I did.
Yeah.
I fished, and when it started raining too hard, I went back to the cabin.
So let me give you this little scoop about my husband. So we go on vacations, and he's either keyed up because, obviously most people go during hurricane seasons, we try to avoid them, but there's always that something brewing. And then if it's not during hurricane season, he's complaining because it's hunting season. So my best friend gets remarried after years of not being married, gets remarried, says, listen, I don't want you to come to my wedding. Just come on our honeymoon with us because we know we'll have fun and you guys love to scuba dive. So meet us in Cozumel. So we go. So I catch grief because there's a storm brewing.
Well, no. You came, I was busy in the garage doing something, and you asked me, do you want to go in September or October, November? I said, well, September is the heat of hurricane season, so do you guys really want to be down there during hurricane season? And you said, no. So we went later in the season, and I said, that's fine. I didn't even think about the date, and it was right in the middle of rut.
Yes. So my husband whined the whole time because there was this really awesome deer in the back, and that was, I think, the last time that deer was seen.
Oh, no, it wasn't. He went on to be 9 years old, but anyway, he was seeing daylight cameras 3 times the week we were gone at my feeder.
Yeah, so needless to say, he still whined. So I may need a different partner for vacations at this point because one way or the other, I can't win.
February is working out just fine. You're not trading me in.
Not trading me in. Yeah, and February is also his birthday month. August is mine, and it's like pulling teeth. Now that our kids are finally, out of school, and we don't have all the expense of putting them in school, we should have February and August open.
Yeah, we could go July, too. We're just, for some reason, never vacation during the summer. We're finally going to go this year during the summer, and COVID stopped us.
Yeah. We are actually supposed to be, actually next week, we were supposed to be in Bonaire. And we received this lovely message that because we're from the United States that we are not allowed in Bonaire because their hospitals cannot handle.
We can go. We just have to go to Belgium and spend 2 weeks there first.
Right. We would have to be in quarantine, but then Belgium would have to let us in. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, vacations for us, you just never know. But now you're looking at the possibility of headed right back down to Louisiana, Texas, that area?
That is correct. I mean, we haven't really heard a whole lot yet, but it's coming. The work is there. We're getting the trucks ready, working on them today after we leave here and kind of getting some trucks ready and trying to finish building one that we're building for a buddy of mine. So he's in there with us. The bigger the force, the better position we get, is the plan in the contracts.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So, still back to you guys are still hiring, right?
Yes, we need laborers, experienced and laborers. Paul told me the other day, he said, we really need some more ground guys, which is the laborers, beginning level people. So, we're looking for some of them right now. If you can travel, that might be a bonus. Right now, we may need 1 or 2 guys to go out of town. So, that's a huge deal for us right now, and it seems like we just always find a help when the hurricanes hit, but let's hope we do. So, right now we're running a little bit behind. We've got several youngsters that are all having babies at the same time for some reason. So I've got like 3 babies going, deliveries all in the same month, and it's just hurting us because they're all taking time off.
Well, they still get to have a life.
Apparently. We didn't get to take time off. Yeah. You were probably working in the hospital.
I actually was. Yeah.
You probably sold a house right after Cassidy was born.
I did, actually. No, that's not true.
Because you weren't really deep into real estate yet.
I wasn't into real estate yet. No, I negotiated a deal right after a hysterectomy, and then I showed a house this last week right after having a tooth cut out. So, and then showed another one again on my birthday. So I may be a workaholic, but you guys have all heard that about me before. So, and he can't say anything because so is he.
Well,
If we're not talking about work, we're talking about work.
I wasn't a workaholic, but for some reason I've become that way again.
Yeah.
Not good.
He used to be. Everybody used to pick on me because he's the cook. I can cook. My problem is I get distracted and I burn everything.
Yeah. Yes.
Because in our house, the way our stove is, you don't get phone reception near it. So you have to move further towards the windows because our downstairs is a berm.
I don't know if the phone reception has anything to do with it. I think it's the conversations and getting on the computers and everything else.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of that, but I really don't have phone reception hardly at all downstairs.
And the temperature
neither
the burner's
do you.
on. The temperature the burner's on don't help either.
And there's a reason why I don't cook. Because, number one...
High is for boiling water only.
Are you listening to him right now? He's the nag of the house.
There's plenty of people out there that agree with me.
Hey, I just wanted to get it done because I got things to do. But
yes, that's why I cook.
And that's why he cooks. So anyway, yeah, we stay pretty busy between the two of us.
And keeping up the house. It's a little easier now that the kids are grown, though. So
yeah.
We don't have ball. We don't have all that stuff to run down and track it. So it's a little easier, a little slower home life now.
Yeah. I mean, we've got Calliope to keep us busy. And, of course, she thinks she rules the roost.
She does.
Yeah, she probably does, actually. No, probably. She does. But at the same time, we're always one of those, we always have something working. Whether it's working on the house or looking at something to get into or someplace to go, or we aren't a sit still kind of crew.
No. So hopefully, sit still for football season. But that's about it.
We'll see how that goes.
If there is one.
If there is one. Yeah. So, we like to stay busy, so be sure and send us work to keep us busy. I had somebody tell me, "Oh, you're so busy, we just hated to bother you." And
if you don't bother us, we don't stay busy.
Right, we can't pay our bills either, so keep us busy. I just shook my head. I'm like, really, this is what I do. So yes, definitely.
So how is the market?
Real estate wise, is crazy. Cassidy got to go with me this week because I was on some medication. I shouldn't be driving with this whole tooth thing. So she was my chauffeur. So she got to meet one of my clients, and they're the cutest little family. And we're out looking at houses, and we got beat on an offer, and we went way over. And so anyway, whenever she asked, she said, "Well, did you get it?" And I said, "No." And she's like, "You've got to be kidding me." And I said, "No, unfortunately not." It actually ends up, and I tell people this all the time, it always works out for the best. They feel like they lost the home of their dreams. They're not going to get the one that they want. And what really actually ends up happening is they find something way better. And this particular instance, it was exactly that. They had initially wanted a certain subdivision. They had initially wanted a certain age of the home, and they liked a certain floor plan. The floor plan's just a little off from what they wanted, but everything else was just exactly what they were wanting initially whenever we first met. And we got it. So anyway, it was kind of cool for my daughter to see how you can get so tied into that end result. Because they are always just hearing how, it plays out. They don't ever actually get to see it firsthand. And this week she got to see it firsthand. She got to see the disappointment. She got to meet the cute family. She got to hear about what they were wanting. She got to see how they reacted to the houses and everything. And then have that letdown of not getting it. And I mean, our bid was amazing on this house. It just didn't fit what that seller needed. And even though we said, "Listen, we'll fit whatever you need. Just tell us what it is you need," it didn't work out that way. That's not how it ended up being negotiated. And so, but this particular one, it was like, oh my goodness, they got the one they wanted. And they're so much happier that they got it. So all things led to the best ending.
Yep.
But
it always works out for the best.
It always does. I swear it does. The disappointment always leads to something better. I've yet, after 17 years, had somebody said to me, I feel like I settled.
Everything happens for a reason, right?
Yep.
I believe her that.
Even though it didn't always feel like it.
Nope. You might not like the reason at the time, but...
Yeah. But in the end, it all plays out. So, yeah, it was kind of cool that she got to see what that was like. She got to drive Miss Daisy all week. So, but, yeah, the market right now is crazy. We're getting houses on the market. They're going off. Yesterday was showing a house, and showing time somehow allowed us to schedule over on top of each other. There were like 6 or 7 agents with it. Literally, it was an open house, but it was a scheduled showing. It was mass pandemonium at this property because everybody was there. They'd scheduled over each other.
New house on the market.
Brand new on the market. It was the first available slot that you could schedule, and everybody was able to schedule on it. So literally, we all got there, and it was okay, who's an agent here? We just needed to make sure that an agent was present because the house is just never getting closed. And it was truly mass pandemonium.
Yep.
So.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's a market to where if you're looking to sell, no joke, now's the time. I've still got a couple that are looking to buy out west, and they want acreage. And they've gotten beat out with fabulous offers. And still got beat out. And I'm not talking about they asked the seller for anything. I'm saying they bid over and they didn't ask for anything. But what they're looking for is a little harder to find because it's very specific.
Yep.
And so, you got to find the needle in the haystack. Yeah.
They want this or they're not moving.
Yeah. If you're in the Rossville, Silver Lake, the northwest side of Topeka, and you're not on the market right now, you have roughly 10 acres or so. We'd love to have a pond. Could go up to $450,000. I really needed to know. My number is 785-213-5188. I have an amazing family with 2 sons. Their house is already sold. They're living.
We have a daughter, too. You're going to forget her?
No, this particular couple. This particular couple has 2 sons. But they have, they're living in an apartment right now. We just can't find it. It's just not there.
That's tough.
Yeah. And the same thing was happening with this couple that Cassidy got to meet. They moved into their parents' basement. We had to be able to find what they were looking for. So that is literally what's going on with the market right now. Unfortunately, if you're on the market and you haven't gotten multiple offers, you're probably overpriced. But it's just the way that it is.
Or there's something wrong.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Something that probably needs to be tweaked in some way. And there are a lot of homes that, now I will say in your higher price points, 500 and higher, those have slowed down. They've never been a mass, sale anyway. Just because so few in our market can actually afford them. The majority cannot. But in your typical, 100 to even 300 price range, it's pretty crazy right now. But we're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back to talk some more.
Southwest Topeka has a good neighbor. State Farm agent Jim Garrison, now at 29th and Urish. If your current insurance situation has you going around in circles, get off the roundabout and stop in and meet Jim and his wonderfully efficient staff. Let Jim Garrison give you a quote and make the Garrison comparison. He's confident that with State Farm's competitive rates, the right coverage, and his unmatched service, you'll want to make him your new insurance agent. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and Jim Garrison is there for you, northeast of the roundabout at 29th and Urish.
When someone has a passion for what they do, it comes through in the product they provide their customers. Just ask LaRocco's Pizza's new owner, Jason Johnson, about their crust. They make it every day and let it rise for a minimum of 24 hours before they use it for their pizza. And his staff doesn't want to do anything they won't be the best at, and you can taste it in their pizza. LaRocco's Pizza, just a half block north of the I-470 and Gage Boulevard exit. Come taste the difference.
It's the season for brand new mulch, and Brown's Tree Service has got your yard covered. Brown's Tree Service utilizes hardwood mulch that retains more moisture. Not only does mulch make your yard more appealing, it also reduces weeds, improves soil, and creates insulation for plants. Get the right mulch for your job at Brown's Tree Service. They shred it, haul it, and spread it in bulk. Or you can haul it yourself for the personal touch to your property. Call Brown's Tree Service at 785-379-9212 or visit online at brownstreeservicelc.com.
Thanks for joining us again. This is Carrie Brown, Associate Broker with eXp Realty and the Preferred Advisors team, and you're listening to Real Estate 101, and I'm back with my husband, Troy Brown. Brown's Tree Service, I guess technically I forgot to introduce you earlier, but surely everybody knows who you are by now.
We hope. Might be a new listener.
Might be a new listener. So you were just telling me during the break that there is a new kind of worm?
Well, it's not new. This is the time of year that you really start seeing them. It's the webworm, and it's a worm that'll get the top. A lot of times you see them in the walnuts, but they'll get into any tree. So they'll create a big spider web up there in the top of your tree, probably, I don't know, a foot around, 6 inches around, something like that. You'll see them on top of your trees. We can spray them. You don't have to spray them, but we sprayed some this week. The woman wanted them sprayed, so we'll go ahead and spray them. They're kind of harmless. They'll blow out over the wintertime, but so even if we kill the worm, the web's still going to be there for a little bit. Unless we raise a bucket truck or something up there. If they're in a small tree, you can just take a stick with a nail in it, twist it up, and then throw it in the trash can.
So what do they do exactly? Do they harm the tree in any way?
They don't really harm the tree too much, but they're really unsightly.
So what do bagworms do to a tree?
They will strip the foliage. Now, your deciduous trees, the last couple of years, they've been on them more than the junipers and the cedars. So the cedars, they will actually can kill a cedar. They can kill the junipers, the junipers, the cedars, they can actually kill them. They'll start stripping the needles, and they don't come back. So they can create brown spots in them. They can do some harm to a good windrow. So you really need to spray those during. And again, that's like June, July is when we start spraying those. Sometimes right into the 1st of August, but by the time you get into August, they're really adulted out. So you can spray them, but really the purpose of spraying them is just to kill that worm. He won't be there next year if we kill him. So the webworms, the bagworms, we do need to spray. That's something that needs to be done. So that's done for this year. So it'll be next year before you see them again. Some years they might not be so bad. They go away some years, and we've had years where we've sprayed 2 or 3 jobs, and that was it. This year you couldn't keep enough water in that spray truck to keep up. So it was a very bad year for bagworms.
So when it comes to trees, what is a tree that is most resistant to critters and diseases?
Oh, I don't know that there is a tree that's really more resistant than one or the other. They all got some kind of issue of some sort, whether it be critters or structurally they're just a bad design, like a Bradford pear. I don't even know if you can buy a Bradford pear anymore. They're just a bad tree. They fall apart in a 20-mile-an-hour windstorm sometimes. They're just terrible trees. So just about all trees are going to have some kind of issue or not. Maybe it's a sycamore. They're just really dirty, and they get anthracnose. So you go to planting trees, you probably ought to do a little research on them, see what the problem is, and then there's always new problems every 10 years or something else that comes in the country, whether we import it or not, like the emerald ash borer. That's something that we imported. So, it came into Detroit. So it's just hard telling where it's, what it is out there. You can plant a tree in 30 years from now, then it's going to have a problem. You just do a little research when you start planting trees, what you got, what's going on right now. But that don't mean to say 30 years from now you don't have a problem that shows up. Environment's always changing.
So when it comes to winter pruning, I know we've talked about it before, but how do you guys know what to cut whenever you get there?
When we get into a tree during the winter, first off, winter pruning is the best time to trim a lot of your trees because, first off, there ain't no leaves on it, so we can see the structure of a tree really well. And the structure, a lot of times, is what first thing you're pruning, and then you're getting rid of dead wood. You're getting rid of bad crotches, crossing limbs, so you can see all that really well without the leaves on it. And when a guy gets in a tree, most people just think, well, how can they trim it during the winter? They can't see the dead sticks. Well, it's easy to see the dead wood in a tree when you get up in there. So when you do it every day, you can spot it pretty easy. The tree heals from it, the wounds start healing quicker, and that's the biggest thing. So don't ever not call us during the winter just because it's wintertime. We stay busy all winter long right now. The last 10 years or so, we really ain't had a lot of slowdown. It backs off a little bit when it gets super cold, but the guys got to eat too, even during the winter, we don't lay our help off. We don't like laying them off. We try to keep them busy during the winter. So winter pruning projects is a good time to call us. So if you have a pruning project and we're a little backed up, we can get to it during the winter and you'll be fresh, and when it leaves out, you'll see it. So by all means, don't be scared to call us during the winter, or even just schedule it now for the winter time. We can come out and look at it, give you an estimate, and we can put it on January schedule. We do that a lot too.
Also, I have a lot of clients that are especially people looking at houses. A lot of people are first-time home buyers, so they've really never put a whole lot of thought into the trees or the landscape or anything because it's not actually been theirs before.
Right. So, when you start a landscaping project, you really got to, and I tell people all the time with the trees part of it, before you spend a lot of money on trees, what is your desire to get done with your yard? So if you got a landscape project coming up that you may not be able to afford right now, but you still want that end result in mind, so therefore everything you do is towards that end result, so you're not wasting money on something that eventually you're going to end up taking the tree down, so why would we trim it? Or if you want the shade for a little while, we can just do some temporary work to it, save you a little bit of money instead of putting too much effort into it, and then remove it later, so you already know you're going to remove it in 5 years when you get that financially, you can afford that big landscaping project or whatever reason it is that you're not ready to do that project. But same with planting a tree. Always look down the road. 30 years, is that tree going to be too big for that little area that you put it in? Saves you a lot of problems, or if you sell, the next guy that buys a house. So always look into the future the most as you can.
We do the same thing when it comes to houses. I have people say, okay, well, am I going to make my money back if I do this? So I'll come over sometimes up to a year before you're ready to sell and look at the house and say, okay, yes, this stuff needs to be done. And if I notice that there are dead trees, I will say something and say, this is probably going to be a problem. When it's on a lot of land, typically that's not something that they notice. I'm also not an expert at diagnosing, so I just say, hey, here's my husband's phone number. But we do the same thing. So if you're looking to sell your house or looking to buy, especially in buying, I can go in and see a house and tell you, well, if I were going to do something, this would be what I would do. Like this morning, I closed with an investor that they're actually completely redoing a house, and it sits on 7 acres. So we were looking, okay, well, what would be the most appealing floor plan? Because the floor plan is based on a 1950s home. So we were talking about how to open up the walls and all that kind of stuff. Do that too. Totally free. Just come out, take a look, give you some ideas. Obviously, whenever you go to sell, I would love to help you. But at the same time, it's the same thing you do. We're already trying to help you prepare for what's the next move.
What's the next move, and just try not to have a wasted move. It's huge.
Yeah, you don't want to waste your money.
No.
Yeah.
So we got plenty to do. I don't need to just go out there and sell you something just to be selling you something. So we're there to help you if you need it. Just ask. And Paul and Adam are doing most of it. I do a little bit of it. And for those that call my cell phone that have it, that's not a shortcut.
No, because he'll forget.
I do.
Always call the office. We've got friends, they'll be like, what's Troy's cell phone number? And I'm like, okay, well, what do you need exactly? I'm happy to give it to you, but if it's about trees, you're going to want to go through the right channels because he's going to forget, and then you're going to be mad.
Yep.
So just don't.
It's not personal.
It's not personal. It's called memory.
Too many irons in the fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is going to forget. So just 785-379-9212 is the best place.
That's why we have them guys doing that, because that's what they're good at.
Yep.
So
they always say hire people that are smarter than you are. That's what we do. We hire people smarter than us. That way they can take care of it and make sure that we're where we're supposed to be, because we're really good at what we do, but we hire the people that are better at the things that we are not good at.
Yeah. And we don't like doing it.
And well, there's a reason why we don't like doing it. It's because it's not something we're necessarily good at.
Yeah.
All right. So how do they get a hold of you?
785-379-9212. BrownstreeServiceLC.com is our website. You can apply there. You can put in an estimate request. you can check our website out. I need to get it redone. It's something that I'm not any good at, and I need to hire that done.
So his phone number is 785-379-9212.
Every web guy now in town is going to be calling.
And if you're looking to buy or sell, be sure and give us a call at 785-213-5188. Check out our website, preferredadvisorsteam.com, and we'd be happy to help you buy or sell or invest. Thanks for listening to Real Estate 101.
Thank you for listening to Real Estate 101 with the Carrie Brown team from Preferred Advisors.